This sign means A. Trucks only. B. Trucks are entering the highway. C. Upcoming hill. D. Trucks have the right of way. C. Upcoming hill. Warning signs are usually diamond-shaped with black markings on a yellow background. They alert drivers to upcoming hazards. This sign indicates that drivers are approaching a steep hill and should prepare to adjust their speeds to continue to drive safely. This sign means A. Sharp turn ahead, slow down. B. Work crew ahead. C. Side road. D. Playground ahead. A. Sharp turn ahead, slow down. Warning signs prepare drivers for upcoming road conditions and hazards and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign warns drivers that there is an upcoming sharp turn and that they should lower their speed accordingly. This sign means A. No U-turn. B. Two-way left turn. C. Minimum speed limit. D. No parking. When passing a large vehicle, the driver of a small vehicle must be prepared for A. Loud noises. B. Excess air pollution. C. Wind gusts produced by the large vehicle. D. Falling vehicle parts. C. Wind gusts produced by the large vehicle. Large vehicles can cause wind gusts with a force great enough to cause direction changes in smaller vehicles. Drivers of small vehicles should be prepared to take proper corrective steering action when approaching or passing large vehicles that are moving at or near maximum speeds.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
A diamond-shaped sign is a A. Road hazard sign. B. Interstate route sign. C. School crossing sign. D. Speed limit sign. A. Road hazard sign. Warning signs are normally diamond-shaped and yellow, although orange warning signs are used in work areas. Such signs warn that you are approaching a hazardous location or an area where special rules apply. To pass a slower-moving vehicle on a two-lane, two-way road, you must A. Not cross the center line. B. Flash your lights at oncoming traffic. C. Use the shoulder. D. Use the lane that belongs to oncoming traffic. D. Use the lane that belongs to oncoming traffic. Passing on a two-lane, two-way road requires good judgment because you must use the lane belonging to oncoming traffic to complete your pass. Only pass if you may safely and legally do so. Your body gets rid of approximately A. 3 alcoholic drinks an hour. B. 1 alcoholic drink an hour. C. 2 alcoholic drinks an hour. D. None of the above. B. 1 alcoholic drink an hour. The average person's body will process about 1 alcoholic drink in 1 hour. However, many factors play a part in determining how impaired a person will become when consuming alcohol, including the amount of alcohol consumed, how fast it is consumed, and a person's body weight, food intake, and general health. To safely pass a bicycle, you should A. Honk at the bicyclist to let them know you're trying to pass. B. Drive in the bicycle lane until you get a chance to pass. C. Slow down and give them as much space as possible. D. Rush ahead to pull in front of the bicyclist. C. Slow down and give them as much space as possible. When passing a bicyclist, slow down and give them as much space as you can. Bicyclists have much less protection than drivers of motor vehicles and they should not be crowded. Passing a bicycle too quickly can shift the bicyclist off course. Round signs indicate A. No passing zones. B. School zones. C. Upcoming railroad crossings. D. Hospitals. C. Upcoming railroad crossings. Round signs warn drivers of an upcoming railroad crossing area. Drivers should use extra caution when approaching a railroad crossing. As you drive, you're required to stop your vehicle. A. At an intersection with a stop sign. B. Where there is a red light. C. When a traffic officer orders you to stop. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Situations where motorists are required to stop include approaching intersections with stop signs, approaching intersections where a red light is either flashing or illuminated, or any time when a traffic officer orders your vehicle to stop. Regulatory signs. A. Are placed in every location where there is a present danger. B. Indicate what a driver must or must not do. C. Are diamond-shaped and yellow or green. D. May warn drivers that they are approaching a school zone. B. Indicate what a driver must or must not do. Regulatory signs are often rectangular and white with black markings and are used to indicate what things a driver must or must not do in a designated area. They may display speed limits, prohibit passing or turning, or clarify any other driving regulation. A person's ability to drive can be impaired by A. Alcohol. B. Any medication. C. A. Lack of sleep. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. The ability to drive safely is dependent on the driver being in good physical condition. Driving can be impaired by alcohol, legal and illegal drugs, and being drowsy. A broken yellow line alongside a solid yellow line means A. Passing on the left is permitted from either direction. B. Passing is permitted from the lane next to the broken line. C. Passing is permitted from the lane next to the solid line. D. Passing is not allowed from either direction. B. Passing is permitted from the lane next to the broken line. A broken yellow line alongside a solid yellow line means that passing is allowed from the lane on the side next to the broken line. When parking your vehicle downhill on a two-way street. A. Turn your wheels to the right. B. Turn your wheels to the left. C. Keep your wheels pointed straight ahead. D. Leave your transmission in neutral. A. Turn your wheels to the right. When you park on a downward-facing slope, turn your wheels sharply toward the side of the road. This way, if your vehicle starts to roll downhill, it will roll away from traffic. This road sign means A. Steep grade ahead. B. Pedestrian crossing ahead. C. Low ground railroad crossing. D. Low clearance. D. Low clearance. This sign indicates that the overpass ahead has a low clearance. You should not proceed if your vehicle is taller than the height shown on the sign, in this case, 13 feet 6 inches. You are coming to a railroad crossing where the crossing signals are flashing. You should A. Stop and look for a train. B. Slow down and look for a train. C. Look for a train, then speed up. D. Do what the vehicle ahead of you does. A. Stop and look for a train. When approaching a railroad crossing, you must stop your vehicle no closer than 15 feet from the nearest rail if an installed electric or mechanical signal is giving warning of an approaching train. Be aware of other warning signs that may indicate an oncoming train, including seeing a lowered crossing gate or hearing an oncoming train. You may pass another vehicle if the line dividing your lane from the lane you wish to enter as a fill in the blank line. A. Broken white. B. Double solid yellow. C. Solid yellow. D. Solid white. A. Broken white. White lines separate traffic lanes traveling in the same direction. You may cross broken white lines to pass, as long as the passing lane is clear. The effect that alcohol has on your reflexes and judgment. A. Is less pronounced when consuming beer instead of wine. B. Is less pronounced when consuming wine instead of beer. C. Is most pronounced when consuming hard ciders and mixed drinks. D. Depends on the amount of alcohol in your bloodstream. D. Depends on the amount of alcohol in your bloodstream. Consuming any type of alcohol can have negative effects on your reflexes and judgment. It does not matter which type of alcohol is consumed, only how much alcohol has entered a person's bloodstream. You may legally turn left onto a one-way street when stopped at a solid red light. A. Only if a left turn sign is posted. B. Only if there is also a green arrow signal. C. Under no circumstances. D. If traffic allows. D. If traffic allows. At a solid red light, you may generally turn left or right from a two-way road onto a one-way road after stopping and yielding to all traffic and pedestrians. Watch for signs prohibiting turns on red. This road sign means A. Do not pass. B. Do not enter. C. No turn on red. D. Keep right. D. Keep right. This sign indicates that a divided highway begins ahead. The road will split into two one-way roadways separated by a median or divider. You must keep to the right. The driver's left arm and hand are extended upward. This hand signal means that the driver plans to A. Turn left. B. Turn right. C. Come to a stop. D. Go straight ahead. B. Turn right. If a driver's left arm and hand are extended upward, they are indicating that they intend to turn right. Adjust your driving accordingly if following a driver who is using this hand signal. A traffic light displaying a green arrow and a red light means that A. You may only drive straight ahead. B. You may drive only in the direction of the green arrow. C. You must wait for a solid green light to proceed in any direction. D. Vehicles moving in any direction must stop. A regulatory sign containing a red circle with a slash through the middle indicates A. That drivers should come to a complete stop. B. That an action is forbidden. C. That some drivers should yield to other drivers. D. That drivers should drive under the speed limit. B. That an action is forbidden. Some regulatory signs prohibit certain actions. These signs are rectangular and white with red and black markings. A red circle and slash on top of a black symbol indicates that the specified action is forbidden. Compared to driving during the day, driving at night is A. Less dangerous. B. No more or less dangerous. C. More dangerous. D. Easier on your eyes. C. More dangerous. Driving at night is more dangerous than driving during the day for several reasons. It is harder to see in the dark. You may be temporarily blinded by the glare from other vehicles' lights, and there are likely to be more drivers on the road who are tired or under the influence. Fill in the blank. Greatly increase stopping distances and severity of crashes. A. High speeds. B. Slow speeds. C. Night drives. D. Uphill inclines. A. High speeds. High speeds greatly increase stopping distances and severity of crashes. The faster you drive, the greater the impact or striking power of your vehicle, should you be involved in a collision. While driving on a two-lane road without bicycle lanes, you encounter a bicyclist traveling in the same direction. What is the safest way to pass the bicyclist? A. Slow down and wait until there is no traffic approaching, then pass the bicyclist while leaving him or her sufficient space. B. Continue driving straight. It is the bicyclist's responsibility to get out of your way. C. Do not pass the bicyclist until you come to a traffic signal or stop sign. D. Honk at the bicyclist to let him or her know you are about to pass. A. Slow down and wait until there is no traffic approaching, then pass the bicyclist while leaving him or her sufficient space. You should pass a bicyclist the same way you would pass any other vehicle, but not so fast or close to them that you throw debris in their face or blow them around with the draft of air from your vehicle. Allow at least 3 feet of space between your side mirror and the bicyclist, or at least 5 feet on higher speed roads or when there is a group of bicyclists. Honking unnecessarily may startle riders and make them more likely to crash. You may avoid the risks of alcohol-related crashes by A. Deciding before you start drinking that you are not going to drive. B. Simply saying, "No thanks, I'm driving," if someone offers you a drink. C. Calling a taxi. D. Doing any of the above. D. Doing any of the above. The only way to avoid the risks of drinking and driving is to decide before you start drinking that you are not going to drive. Because alcohol affects your judgment, it will be harder for you to make safe decisions after you have started drinking. A telltale sign of a drunk driver is A. They are weaving between lanes. B. They are driving more slowly than the normal traffic flow. C. They are making quick and sudden stops. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Telltale signs of drunk driving include speeding, weaving, driving more slowly than the normal traffic flow, making jerking motions, and making quick and sudden stops. This sign means A. Stop. B. No U-turn. C. Yield. D. Do not enter. D. Do not enter. This sign is placed at the beginning of one-way streets and ramps to indicate that you must not continue driving in your current direction. By driving a motor vehicle on the roadways in Oregon, you have agreed to A. Maintain liability insurance for as long as you drive. B. Take a breath, blood, or urine test if arrested for driving under the influence. C. Post bail or appear in court if arrested for a traffic violation. D. Keep your vehicle's equipment in safe operating condition. B. Take a breath, blood, or urine test if arrested for driving under the influence. Under the implied consent law, by driving a vehicle in the state, you give your consent to take a breath, blood, or urine test when asked to do so by a police officer if you are arrested for driving under the influence of intoxicants (DUII). Refusing to take one of these tests when asked will result in potential legal repercussions. What does a flashing yellow traffic light mean? A. Merging traffic. B. Proceed with caution. C. Pedestrian crossing. D. Come to a full stop. B. Proceed with caution. A flashing yellow traffic light indicates that you should drive with caution. If two drivers arrive at the same time to a four-way intersection controlled by stop signs. A. The driver on the right has the right of way. B. The driver on the left has the right of way. C. One driver may continue driving without stopping. D. One driver should honk to indicate that they are giving up the right of way. A. The driver on the right has the right of way. Yield the right of way to the driver on your right at a four-way intersection if you both arrive to the intersection at the same time. You may then proceed when it is safe to do so. Traffic signs and pavement markings. A. Must always be obeyed. B. Are merely suggestions. C. Must be followed only when there is other traffic. D. Must be followed only when a police officer is present. A. Must always be obeyed. Traffic flow is controlled by pavement markings, traffic islands, signals, and signs. These devices inform drivers of conditions on the roadway and help guide drivers safely to their destinations. You must always obey traffic signs, signals, and pavement markings. Another driver is trying to pass your car. You should A. Pull off the road. B. Signal to the other driver when it is safe for them to pass. C. Check for oncoming traffic and adjust your speed to allow safe passing. D. Speed up. C. Check for oncoming traffic and adjust your speed to allow safe passing. Keep right when another driver begins to pass you on the left. Check for oncoming traffic and adjust your speed to let the passing vehicle move back into the right lane as easily as possible. You are borrowing an unfamiliar vehicle from a friend. You should A. Not put too much thought into it because all vehicles are the same. B. Hide from your friend that you are unfamiliar with the vehicle. C. Disregard any obvious defects to avoid embarrassing your friend. D. Take a few minutes before driving to familiarize yourself with the operation and location of all the vehicle's equipment. D. Take a few minutes before driving to familiarize yourself with the operation and location of all the vehicle's equipment. When driving an unfamiliar vehicle, take a few minutes before driving to familiarize yourself with the location and operation of the turn signals, hazard warning signals, headlights and beam selector, windshield wipers and washers, brakes, gear selector, and horn. Any defects should be corrected before the vehicle is driven.